Now, look, it's time to go to work. I think when you're an interim coach, there's a lot of leeway. It's time to go to work now. Every transfer needs to be scrutinised. We're going to play twice a week. 3-0 to Man United with 49% possession. Counter-attack FC again. So are we going to see this all of next season? I don't know. Are we going to play a bit better? I don't know. But I'm not going to let it bother me over the summer. Next season will take care of itself. Maybe we're going to play really good 70% attacking football and win the league. Maybe we're going to buy some brilliant players. Maybe we're going to win the Champions League. I don't know. And there's no point in worrying about that. I thought today was a really good end to the season. It wasn't scintillating football. It's the way we've played. Defensively strong, counter-attacked well. Brighton, were pretty poor. But I liked Mbeumo's goal, which wasn't really Mbeumo's goal, but it was. It was a brilliant play between Ahmad and Mount. I liked Bruno's goal, brilliant finish. Dorgu with an assist and a goal. Obviously scoring the first goal himself. I thought Mainu and Bruno were fantastic. I thought Mainu was absolutely superb, actually. I think that's exactly what we're hoping he's going to do in a Man United shirt. I would hope everybody knew how well Mainu played today. It was an absolutely fantastic result, a fantastic performance from him. Composed, solid and tackled. That's something we can build on next season, because maybe I want us to build the midfield around him, and I thought he was brilliant today. I thought Bruno, I run out of superlatives. He's broken the Premier League assist record in the Man United team that's not even that good. He's played in better United teams and not broken the record. De Bruyne definitely played in better teams and didn't break this record. So I think it's incredible what Bruno Fernandes has achieved. But I was glad he got the goal as well, because I think the assist thing, he's a goal scorer. He's brilliant for his finish. And Dorgu, I don't know whether many people will talk about Dorgu, but somebody was saying he's got 4 goals and 4 assists in his last 6 games, which is incredible, really. I just like Dorgu on the wing. I really do like Dorgu on the wing. I think he's a huge player for United in the future. We've just got to try and figure out where we want him to play. I think we do need a left back. I don't think Luke Shaw. I'm not fooled by Luke Shaw being available for every game. Availability is not the ability I want. I want a fullback that gets forward, creates things. I don't think it was a coincidence that Ahmad plays better with Mazraoui than he does with Delo. But I am sort of conflicted on Dorgu, because we live in a world where teams are obsessed with introverted wingers and introverted wingers. So you have a left foot on the right side, you have a right foot on the left side. I think there's something unique and identifiable and simple about putting a left-footed player on the left wing. And Dorgu on the left-hand side, he has that ability to whip that natural crossing. And not many teams are doing it these days. And we used to have Beckham on the right and Giggs on the left. And Giggs would whip it in with the left and Beckham would whip it in with the right. And the great thing about football is it's meant to evolve. And everybody's obsessed with introverts. Introverts are completely different. An introverted winger is something completely different. That's a personality trait. An inverted winger is somebody that puts it on their left foot because they're left footed from the right, or right foot with their right foot on the left. A natural left footed winger putting a cross in. This could be something that we could rejuvenate football with. Like, nobody really does it anymore. And I love it. I love Dorgu on the wing. I'm not sure he's a left back. I think he's a left winger. And, you can go and spend £80 million on a winger, and you could just give Dorgu the role and buy a left winger, a left back. I mean, imagine Dorgu with a proper left winger. So maybe that's the solution. Maybe we don't buy a winger. Maybe we buy a left back. Maybe that's what we do. But look, I don't think Mbeumo works up front as well. I took a few notes from this game. It wasn't easy to take notes from this game because it was quite a straightforward game for United. But Mbeumo up front doesn't work. That doesn't work. I know he scored today, but it doesn't. He offers very little up front. I know he scored the tap in, but I mean, Mbeumo up front, I'm just hoping it's a short term. We haven't got anybody else because Sesko's injured. We absolutely need to find a better solution than Mbeumo up front, because that will hurt us next season. He needs to go on the wing and start being used at points. So I think with Mbeumo, I just want to say, good that he scored, but he's just not in the game, is he? As a striker, I think it's more of a stopgap thing. And then Baleba, and look, I don't want to say I told you so, but he's rubbish. Like, it's like there is this cult in the Man United fan base that seem to think, oh, I'm a believer, and I saw his face, and I'm a believer. Mate, like, instead of looking at his face, look at his feet, look at his performances. They've been shit all season. And he didn't even start today. You know, he doesn't even start. James Milner starts, and then he comes on for 25 minutes. He's knackered after 10 minutes because he's running around trying to do everything. He was rubbish, and he's up against Fletcher, who is a kid, and he can't even impart anything. I mean, look, let's get real. He might be a good player in the future, but he is not what Man United need this summer, and not for 70, 60, 50 million pounds. I'm telling you now, I wouldn't give him 40. Brighton's biggest mistake was not taking 60 plus add-on for us last summer, because we dodged the bullet. He is not what United need. And if Wilcox wants to, if he wants to make that mistake, go ahead. But he's like, people call you a hater, or you've got an agenda, or it's so forced. No, I actually watch football. Like everybody else, I watch football. I don't think these people who think Baleba good enough for United have actually watched Brighton this year. That last 20 minutes has pretty much been his season. That's pretty much what he's been doing, which is why he gets dropped a lot. He is not a solution for Man United. So look, we're hearing that Ederson could be in the next 48 hours. Like, Ederson to Man United is very close to here we go, our first summer signing, so get ready for that. Fernandes has just been relegated with West Ham. We don't need Baleba, because if you get Fernandes and you get Ederson, the last midfielder has to be the tier 1. He has to be the A-star. If Fernandes is the second midfielder and Baleba is the third midfielder, the first midfielder can't be Baleba anyway. So I think we can safely put that in the drawer and say we're not doing it, and move on. There's just no way that deal will happen. He's not good enough. He's overpriced, and we're getting Ederson. We can get Fernandes, and then hopefully we go and get Tonali or Anderson, and I'll be reasonably happy with that. So yeah, straightforward, realistically. Other than that, clean sheet good. 71 points is good. I was looking at this in the game. So Van Gaal got 70 points in the 15 season. Mourinho got 81 points and 69 points in the 17 season and 18 season, respectively. Ollie got 74 in the 21 season, and Van Gaal got 75 in the 23 season. Harris only had half a season, and he's got 71. So let's see what he can do next year. I think the big thing is we just can't predict it. I've got no idea. Some people say if he'd carried the full season, he would have won the league. Some people say give him 2 games a week and he'll get us relegated. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to have to look forward to it and see what we do in the summer. It's going to be very exciting. We're back in the Champions League, which if you'd offered me that at the start of the season, this was the first season I ever. This is the first season. I've got my Premier League predictions. Just realised I've got to do my Premier League predictions. I've got a Premier League predictions video going out tomorrow morning. It's 8 o'clock on That's Football. But I didn't put Man United in the top 5. This is the first season I've not put Man United in the top 5. And, I'll always be optimistic. I predicted we were going to win the Champions League 2 years ago. So I didn't put us in the top 5 this year. So we finished 3rd. I would have bit your hand off it. So I'm very happy with us being in the Champions League. I think next season is the complete unknown. Who knows what's going to happen? I think the summer is going to define that a lot. But look, it's mission accomplished. You can't argue with it. It's mission accomplished. Let's see what next season is going to bring. There's a lot of things that need to change. Luke Shaw is not a long-term solution at left back. Right back is still a problem. Maguire and Martinez, I can't see them being able to play every week, so are we going to get the lip back? Is Heaven going to actually get minutes? Didn't bring Heaven on today. Brought Yoro on today, but didn't bring Heaven on today. I mean, it's a little thing, but it could be a big thing. He's barely used him, has he? Mainly was brilliant. Mount, yeah, you just can't rely on Mount. Bruno, brilliant. Ahmad was a lot better today. Burmo got his goal. Dorgu did really well. But there's a lot of question marks about the team still. You know, is Sesko going to play every week? Who's going to play off the left? What we're going to do with Cunha? Are we going to sign Rodgers? Is it going to be Ahmad or Burmo on the right? Is it going to be Duel at right back? Are we going to get the left back in? What's that midfield going to look like? What's our centre back pairing going to look like? There's a lot of work to do, and I think it's time to go to work with United now. Let's do player ratings, but first to do that, I've just got a few super chats. Sugartown Scott, welcome to Members Club. Have much price now for Martinez now that West Ham have gone down? General Mbappe, what's the price of Fernandes now he's gone down? Depends if there's any competition. If nobody else wants him, we might be able to get him for 50. If there's competition for him, it might go up to 60. I don't think he's got a relegation clause, so the price depends on the competition. Collection proved today we don't need Baleba. This is one and only. How do you see the team next season? Dorgu versus Cunha or Dorgu replaces Shaw? Left back or wing seems confusing. I'm not convinced Dorgu at left back works.
Georgia plans weddings with the precision of a watchmaker. Surprises aren't her specialty. What the venue flooded? Co-pilot helps Georgia rebuild the plan in minutes. Georgia runs the show. Co-pilot helps keep it on track.
People with high blood pressure taking down. Said my mom, you too. Our kidneys could be sitting underneath silver, but in histories like heart attack or stroke.
Don't miss the signal. Ask your doctor about a simple urine test called UACR and join our mission.
Confusing. I'm not convinced Dorgu at left back works. Dorgu's best games have been as a winger. When he was playing at left back, he was getting a load of shit. As soon as he went to the wing, everyone loves him. So there's the hint. 24 Inspired Media, thanks for your super chats. Juan says we've mispositioned Dorgu. He is an aggressive, natural-footed winger. We don't need a winger for the left back after the midfield gets settled. No World Cup next year. Shaw's going to disappear, says Jet. Good signings and no reason United can't compete for the title, says Sugartown Scott. I don't think that's helpful personally. I like the optimism, but yeah, I think that's why we play. I think talking about a good summer transfer window in the title is incredible, considering we've not been near a title for 13 years. But you know, dare to agree. Noah says that the Baleba wasn't that bad, and the criticism is so forced. Noah, I would love to not react to your rage bait, but I'm going to ask you one question. Why would anybody force it against Baleba? This was a player I wanted to sign last summer. So personally, why would I want to force it? I said sign him last summer. So why would we force it? Why would anybody, for what reason would people decide they don't want to sign Baleba from Brighton other than in shit? What agenda are we forcing? Why? What's he ever done for a Man United fan? Nothing. There's no reason to force it. It's just an analysis of the player. I don't know what anyone would be trying to force. Anyway, we move on to more intelligent conversation. Player ratings today. I'll give Le Mans a 6. 7. What did he do? Try to think. Did he actually do any? I asked the question. I don't remember him doing anything good because I don't think he had anything to do. I was going to pay him a compliment. It was the easiest game he's ever had. And then I'm happy to give him a 7. I think he's had a good season, but it's not season mark.
So pretty.
I would give it 6. It's absolutely amazing. When you talk about manager of the year, that's a newly promoted team. It's absolutely fabulous. I thought Masraoui today was probably 6.5 for me. Generous score, always good. I thought he played well. Mr. Consistent. I'm very happy with him. Maguire was probably the same for me, a 6.5. I'm probably getting a bit low on these today. But Maguire did well. Martinez as well was probably a 6.5, 6.8. That's absolutely fine. Luke Shaw was probably a 6.5 for me as well today. That feels a bit forced. I don't think Luke Shaw was any worse than any of our other defenders, to be fair. Maybe I would give him a 7.5 today, but played really well, as I said. Really composed in the midfield, really good performance, physical, good passing, good energy. Getting better and better the more games he plays, having had half the season off. Mason Mount was alright, give him a 7. If anybody comes in here and says Mason Mount, we only need to buy 2 midfielders because Mount can be a midfielder, you get fired. Ahmad was 7 as well today. Thought he played quite well. He scored a good goal. Drifted in and out of the game, but that's what a winger does. But yeah, I think he did really, really well. Mojo's just gifted 50 memberships, by the way. That's why people are doing a W in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I thought Ahmad was better today than he has been. Obviously, I don't think 6.7 is very fair, but it's ultimately down to you lot. Bruno, I give him an 8. 8.5, happy with that. Man of the match, easily. I thought his goal was brilliant. You know, obviously he got the assist and he broke the record, but I thought his goal was fantastic as well. At first, I thought the keeper could have done better, but he just couldn't get down. Couldn't get down quick enough, he blasted it. So, fantastic goal by Bruno. And 8.5 is fair. Dorgu, I'd probably give him the same as Mainu, 7.5, 7.8 from you. Yeah, I thought he played really well. Goal and assist. Spoke about it. I just like having... But I definitely don't think he's a left back. I really do not want him to be used as a left back. I'll explain this now. Left back was when people were calling him dog shit. Left back was where he was making mistakes. As soon as he went to left wing, he changed. You know, his whole performance has changed to left wing. And I think he might play the game at right wing. So let's not confuse this. People saying that he's putting at left back. He hasn't had any good games at left back. On the wing, he's been immaculate. So for me, he's our winger. He's by left back. I don't think we can class these good performances as putting at left back because he's not been doing it at left back. So, and also, as Eunice said, did he even play as a left back? He was more of a left wing back in an Allen system, wasn't he? So, yeah, I think he's not a left back for United. I think we need to buy a left back. Mboma, I would give him a 6.5. He scored a goal. I don't think he played that well. I don't think he's a very good striker. I just think he's a waste of space up front, to be honest. A waste of... that sounds bad. I don't think he's shit. I just think he's out of position and you know, he's not in the game. And I think that, you know, long term, I don't want him to be the backup striker. I want him to be on the wing fighting with Ahmad because that's what we bought him for. And I think as a striker, he's wasted, to be completely honest. Yoro didn't even notice 6. Malacia, you can have a 6 because you're leaving. Fletcher came on and absolutely told us why we don't need to sign the Labour, so you can have a 6.5. Lacey didn't really get on the ball much, but I'll give him a 6. Xerxes, final few minutes, 6. And Carrick today, thought 7 for me. Thought Brighton were quite poor. We just played our game. Counter-attack, defended well. Bruno centric. Gorgie was great. Maynard was great. Can't really argue with it. Well done. Alex said Mount man of the match. Only if you've got a picture of Mason Mount on your wall, and you know, I thought he did well, but I don't know what game you were watching for that. Mount's man of the match. Bruno Fernandes, 83% of the votes for Bruno Fernandes. So yes. Look, we've got Ricky.
Te digo que después porque no va porque por el ballet y ya llega cansado.
Look, I'm going to watch the fan forum. I'm going to grab myself a quick iced tea and I'm going to watch the fan forum because I want to know whether Ricky is going to admit that Bruno Fernandes is a Man United great. Because he did a combined 11 when we played Leeds a few weeks ago and he left Bruno out for Harrison. And this guy, this Bruno Fernandes next to me, smash the like on the video by the way, for Bruno. This guy, Bruno Fernandes, he's just broken the Premier League all-time assist record. Now, it's time, Richie, to acknowledge that you might not like it, but it is time to acknowledge that this player is a great at this football club. And I want evidence of this. Ricky. Would you do Harrison combined 11 Man United Because that to me is ridiculous. Exactly if you do. I just think it's time that we got the Bruno acceptance because I expect You know, he's going to double down on it and say we can't do that.
Cuando vayan allá,
Why? I don't understand why. What's his...
que
He said Flavor was terrible. If there was a brighter player, I'd take it.
se fue
I
con tu abuelo.
really hope the appointment
Se fue con un pancho y
works out, Ian. You said, don't you
No, no,
play
yeah.
a believer? Now you asked. So,
¿No?
hey, I can't operate with people who don't listen. I had somebody today say he wanted to go with Bruno, so sit down. No, the video evidence is there. There's plenty of them that do something I may have said don't pick the labour on the game, but the play shit. Maybe that's a red flag. And, you know, played well today, I would have said they've been shit all season. If they play shit, well, there we go. I'm not judging the labour on the game. But what I will tell you, though, is how we played today is we played well. There's no... That wasn't a bad thing. That was the latest season. 25 minutes. Own it. He's rubbish. Crazy that we only finished 7 points behind City. And the latest figures in Mason, please don't get him, says Melvin. The fact that Malacia tackled the Labour stay away, says Mason. West Ham relegated Somerville and Fernandez, says Gerard. The Labour can't be a backup with Deep, says DB. Very much for that. How many else wants to go back? Oh, yeah. Let me just confirm this. So, Manchester City, in their final game of the season at the Etihad, and in Pep Guardiola's last ever game in charge of City, he's lost 2-1 to Villa, who've been on the piss since 2010. So, all these people who say that Pep Guardiola's legacy and Pep Guardiola's career at City was better than Manchester United's Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm laughing at your stupidity. Sir Alex Ferguson won a Premier League title in his final season. Pep Guardiola's moved from Villa, and he lost to Liverpool last year. What was about that? Walking after Barnabana, to Ollie Watkins scoring 2 goals against him and beating him in his final game of the league. Own it. He's done a great job in Man City, but he ain't no Sir Alex. He ain't no Sir Alex. 84% of you wouldn't sign for Labour, 16% of you would, 15% of you need to get some help. What to do was seeing something no one else to see. Thanks everyone for watching. 86 of us, fan forum. Let's see what you and everybody have got. Oh, sorry, not the live stream. Let's get yourself that was on the live stream. Sorry, that poll is going to watch a lot. Let's get over and I'm kind of going with these markets. Big for the day. Oh boy.
Reverend Ray Wong is a longtime Democratic Socialist of America. She supports the anti-business Green New Deal to increase taxes on corporations and to provide free public transportation. Vote no on PSA's Reverend Ray Wong.
Smith number 3 is just another grocery store. Fresh organic produce everywhere. It's a bit like a wellness retreat. Smith number 45. They don't turn any huge stuff like this. We've got you mixed up, Tyler. Smith number 1. You're the Sprouts person. If you like fruit and better for you discoveries, you're probably a Sprouts person.
Okay.
How do you know thereabouts cares about people?
Because I've lived it.
She loves this city.
She had the courage to stand up to ICE and Donald Trump.
Karen Bass has helped build 40,000 of them.
She has reduced homelessness by almost 20%.
The Karen is rare. Finally climbed the that historic streak for 20 years.
She doesn't care about the fame or headlines. She gives them all to Los Angeles.
And she's just getting started.
No, it's not. A new batch of declassified UAP files have hit the mainstream, and it is a certified moment. Nothing irrefutable, nothing concrete, nothing even overly interesting, just the same old, grainy footage of some weirdness in the sky and no further information about anything extraterrestrial or anything like inexplicable, just more moments. It genuinely does feel like a really flimsy, puny attempt at distracting the American public with this stuff. Hey, man, look at all this! But it doesn't really work, considering especially how lame and uninteresting the files that they're releasing are. Especially with like the wave of hype they always try to drum up around it, and then what you get is what you're about to see in a moment here. Just so underwhelming. But being the preeminent expert of all things alien, I gotta keep my finger on the pulse of it, so I keep diving into the cesspool, into reading up Junior here of alien and UFO information, and it is just as lackluster as you can imagine. Fucking Christy Noam's husband's big fat titties, his fake hunkers, those ample melons offered more interesting phenomena than anything that the government has declassified here in regards to aliens and UFOs. Into the UFO files yet? Second batch. Real interesting videos. Back in the that my voice even cracked there. 2 hours ago they just released a new batch. This is big. This is big. What are the highways? I'm going right to the experts on the UFO subreddit. My favorite clip is the shadow of the Look at this. I lost it. Advantage. Teleported. Holy, that's not. That's Superman. It's the Iron Giant flying away. That actually looks like out of one of those like Luke's top 5 things. 10 angel spotting. 10 times angels were caught on camera. Silver Surfer just styling on us. That thing is very cool. That is actually just a guy. He is a man flying up there. It's not an extraterrestrial. It's one of us. He's using 100% of his brain. Who's that up there? A cosmic traveler. Well, how do you do? Salutations.
Oh, he's doing 360. He's fucking drunk driving this thing. And he just brought in a friend. Little buddy. Sidekick's going away now. Say something to us. Communicate. You want to suck my cock? And I want to take on this way. We don't care about the other. Oh! He's gone forever. What do we got in here? Two monster? Something? There's another video of a UFO exploding. This is 4 minutes. I don't see shit. Oh, here we go. There it is. My God. That actually just looks like a paper bag being carried by the wings. Or maybe one of those fake spy birds. Oh, there's a montage of everything.
Yes.
I think that's just a jerk.
This is really fun. It's the so-called consumer attorneys of California. Predatory billboard lawyers who descended like vultures on victims of LA's wildfires. The six firms are preying on successful victims across the state. One so-called consumer attorney stole $15 million from his clients, including a bond of devastating burns in the San Pedro pipeline explosion. While they make billions, victims are left in ruins. Like that, and protect California consumers' water.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What do you want? The host. What do you want? I'm not sure what it's a true person.
All groups of kids have autism. Robots help allow with hand eye coordination, learn how to socialize, independent. I've been told my whole life to get I like profile dating. That is peak life. I'm amazed.
Oh, Jesus. Fucking tentacle swallowed. What was that? Oh my God, blast him. Got the AC-130 on. That actually just looks like a kite. Is that not just a children's kite? Imagine they shoot him with the ladder. And shit really did explode into 1,000 pieces though. That is pretty cool footage actually. I want to know more about this. What blew it up? It looks like someone went up there and hit it with a baseball bat. It doesn't even look like an explosion. It's like a pinata. Someone goes up and hits it. But maybe it hit like an electrical line or something and blew up. It didn't look like it was that high. Where's the story on that?
Is there anything you discovered through your work in physics that changed your day-to-day behaviour and life? How you treat people, how you show up, what you think matters?
No, but the one thing that did change my attitude toward life, other people, including the army, yeah, that was a game changer that changed everything I knew, which I thought I knew. Before then, I was single-mindedly focused on physics. Just physics. Do physics well. That was my life. But after seeing warfare up close, I began to realize there's more to life than warfare.
I think I asked this in past, because last time I spoke to a physicist, and he talked to me about how the nature of reality is not what I think it is, and that there's multiple, dimensions, and that I'm only seeing a fraction of what is real, which I think all physicists agree upon. It sounds a bit like a conspiracy theory or something, but actually, logically, it makes a lot of sense to only see what you need to see to survive.
That's right. What we see in your conception of the three-dimensional world is only the tiniest sliver of actually exists.
And when I heard that, it made me open-minded to a lot of the things I thought were conspiracy nonsense. They made me open-minded to ghosts. Maybe ghosts are real.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, maybe another dimension where there's spirits that can see me, but I can't see them.
Well, there could be other sorts of dimensions. That's you think the real ones are the
What do you think happens when we die? Do you think that's it? Or do you think there's a possibility that there's ghosts and that our soul goes somewhere?
I don't see it happening because your brain, your personality, your thoughts are electrical. When you die, the electricity turns off. There's nothing so powerful anymore. Thinking requires a lot of energy. Even ghosts, the ghosts of people still require a lot of energy to keep the thoughts going. But that's why I don't believe in ghosts, because I don't see an energy source that propels the ghosts.
People talk a lot about spirituality. They talk about, things like chakras, and a lot of spiritual people talk about vibrations. It's a phrase that I often hear in the spiritual communities. Do you believe in anything like that in terms of humans having energies and being able to feel each other's energies?
Well, I think that if a person emanates a certain aura or vibe, that doesn't necessarily mean they're radiating something.
Is there any physics behind the idea?
I think it's psychological that you are tuned into a certain personality, a certain way of movement. I think it's psychological rather than physical.
What is something you believe that you haven't proven?
Well, there's a lot of things that haven't been proven. All I can say is maybe not, like flying saucers. I don't say they don't exist or they exist. I say maybe. I just haven't seen concrete evidence for them, that's all. So there's a lot of things that I'm not going to definitely say no, like ghosts. I don't think there are ghosts, but I can't prove it. Maybe there is some afterlife of some sort, but it does go against what is measurable. We see no measurement of somebody that be able to pick up vibrations from a ghost.
How would you like to be remembered? Someday, you're gone. Do you care about being remembered? Do you care about legacy?
Well, I care about leading a good life that I feel comfortable with. And if your books and your teachings and your lectures, if they live on beyond you, that's a bonus. It means that you have an impact. It means you touch people. You touch people's lives with ideas. And when I go down the street, quite a few people come up to me and they say, I saw you on this show, I saw you on that show. And that gives me a nice feeling. Of course, after I'm gone, there's nothing to feel. So when you're still alive, it gives you a nice feeling. Know that you've had an impact. Knowing that you've changed somebody's life. Several people have come up to me and said, I became a physicist because of you. So that's a nice way to view reality, that you touch people.
Is there anything that you used to think was a conspiracy theory that you now know to be true?
Well, I like to debunk, so as soon as someone says something outlandish, I say to myself, sure.
But that's what I mean, like you're a debunker. So at some stage in your life you must have had the experience of thinking something can't be true and being proven wrong.
Usually when I make predictions, they come out to be true. Maybe the timeline is a little bit exaggerated, but they turn out to be true. So I haven't made any predictions or observations that were later shown to be false.
What predictions are you making now then about the nature of reality in the future?
Well, I talked about the nature of string theory in the future. We're going to really to flying saucers. I talked about the fact that even though we have no evidence today, here is a mountain of these things may be classified now. Maybe we'll pick up shreds of evidence.
Did you look at the declassified information that Trump released on UFOs?
Yeah, I looked at the whole 160 or so sightings.
Was there anything in there that was compelling to you?
No, just lights dancing in the sky without any commentary, so you don't know what they are. But they could be extraterrestrial. But you see, these things are two-dimensional. They're taken by a camera. It just flattens the image. Therefore, to judge distance is very tricky.
Do you believe that you're looking at extraterrestrial life forms when you watch these videos?
I'm open to the idea. I don't think there's any smoking gun yet. I'm open to the idea that these are extraterrestrial.
You see some of them going up and down and then into the ocean and coming back up again. When you watch that, do you think, is there aliens, or do you just think it's people that have misunderstood what they're looking at?
I leave open the probability that it could be one or the other. There's no aha moment where I say that it's nothing but reflection, it's nothing but an opposite illusion. There's no aha moment.
If you had to bet everything you love and cherish on either side of the fence, that non-human life had made contact with the Earth at some point in some form, or not, which side would you place everything you love and care about on? Yes, aliens have made contact with us Earth in some form, or no?
Well, I would have to say I don't know.
If you
I
had
was it's a pop-out.
but if everything was on the line, then we'd have to move it to yes or no. And I would personally probably say probably no. If you maybe got everything,
I'd say maybe yes.
you'd say yes.
But no. Maybe yes. Very important, the word maybe. I'm a scientist. If somebody's going to use that against me by saying, you said on television that this and this is true. No, I said maybe. That doesn't mean it actually is true. It just means I open the possibility that it's true.
But if you were held at gunpoint, Doctor, and at gunpoint they said, right, you've got to say yes or no, and if you're right or wrong, that determines your fate.
God damn it, it's billions of prices for all our favorite teleprices? Holy shit.
Our degree programs are designed with easy adults in mind. It's really about convenience and a student experience. The UTC offers a flexible online education designed to fit a busy life. Visit for more. Mike Gibson, just like Trump. Lies like Trump. Lied about being a cop. Corrupt like Trump. Owned by big overseas tobacco companies. Blows European money on luxury hotels, cigars, and coffee. Just like Trump. Mike Gibson, just like Trump. Democrat Yvonne is a financial professional, pro-choice, and fights for our values.
I would have to say that. I know what you're getting at. You want to, corner the fox, right?
To some degree, yeah, I'm trying to corner the fox. But I'm doing it to understand where your intuition or your bias lies, because
I see there's not enough conclusive evidence. There's no aha moment. I just see a lot of maybes.
Yeah, I think that's probably the intellectually honest answer, is maybe. But if I was forced to fall on one side of the fence, I'd probably say no, because I don't have conviction to say yes. I see no evidence to say yes, other than some searching, some stuff else. But I'm looking at it. Maybe it'll change. Doctor, we have a closed position on this podcast where we'll ask us each question to the next guest, not knowing who that is being for. And the question left for you in my diary is, what is the best strategy to deal with failure?
I think the best strategy to deal with failure is try again. I think on the first try, you're bound to make mistakes because it's a learning curve. And that learning curve is instructive. It teaches you. It teaches you to try again, but make a slight change. Make a slight change and hope that change in the right direction. If not, make another change and see whether that puts you in the right direction.
If you could go back to when you were that 7-year-old kid that was just getting into physics,
An 8-year-old.
and give him any advice that would best serve him for the next 70 years, what advice would you have given him?
I'd say carry on. I've made a lot of decisions that I feel good about. Decisions that made me a better person. For example, when I made it in the Army, at that point I thought what could be worse than facing death on the battlefield to die on some unnamed hill in some unnamed land. But then I began to realize, well, yeah, it's a possibility. But there's also a possibility that we will survive. And you learn from that experience. If you're not here to learn, okay, so be it. But if you are here to learn, you gain wisdom by being in the military. And that, I think, is a positive thing.
When you talking about UFOs and alien life and at the start of this conversation, one of the questions that's adjacent to it is if alien life were to come here at some point, do you think they would have empathy for us, or do you think that's essentially a human trait? Do you think they, because in the movies they attack us?
Well, it's only just shooting the dark. And I'd say, first of all, they're robotic. They're not organic at all.
Really?
Because they exhibit maneuvers that would crush the bones of any living creature that we know of. These flying saucers can zigzag. They can dive from 70,000 feet all the way down. They can dive underwater. These require skills and tensions and vibrations that would crack any known U.S. device to have. And there they are, executing these things. Either they're fake or they're extraterrestrial. So I think that they have a technology that we can only dream of.
So when we're looking at these UAP images and videos, if they are to be real, then you're saying there's no life in them at all. It's actually just machine intelligence?
That's right. In fact, that's probably one reason why they don't come out and greet us like in the movies. In the movies, they always come out and say, "Hello, Earthman." No, I personally think they're robotic.
This question of empathy, do you posit that they might be empathetic? Do you posit they would want to destroy us? I mean, what would...
Will they destroy us or will they want to? The answer, I think, is no, because they could have done it years ago. You realize that if you go back, even the Bible makes reference to a UFO. If you take a look at Ezekiel, Ezekiel saw the wheel in the sky. And some people said there was no wheel, that was a UFO. So who knows for sure? But if the aliens really wanted to destroy us, they could have done it years ago. They don't have to wait. But Ezekiel the zoo, even if the zoo is lifelike, to the point where the animals themselves don't even know they're in a zoo, it's peaceful. And you can observe them without necessarily revealing their presence. And in that sense, it could be like living in a zoo. Not that they want to gawk at us and laugh at us, but just observe us.
So you think that they will be, they won't come to destroy us, which is counterintuitive.
I think if they had the chance to destroy us and they wanted to, they could have done it decades ago. But here we are.
It's an interesting idea. When you talk about this extraterrestrial life being robotic, it does kind of make sense to me because we're on a course to create humanoid robots and robots that can... I was actually watching this morning, there's a video that one of these humanoid robot companies are streaming, and it's they're streaming a humanoid robot working on production line 4 hours straight so everybody can watch. And all it's doing is sorting out its design. But it's been going for 4 days straight. And if you play this forward, you go, this robot could go walk across the office and it can charge itself back up once it runs out of battery, and then they show it going back to work again. When I said that for you, imagine this technology continues to improve to create something. The battery technology gets better, the intelligence gets better, and then, theoretically, this robot will be able to build a spaceship, theoretically, and travel into the universe, theoretically, at some point. If you imagine any basic improvement. So it's theoretical that, okay, humans might not be able to survive the crushing forces of that speed, but a robot could.
My personal attitude is that we should eventually merge with them.
Merge with the robots.
That's right. That's my personal feeling. Because people talk about whether they're good, whether they're bad, so on and so forth. Well, the bottom line is that we're going to become more powerful. And not now, but who knows, maybe in the next century, they'll begin to make reasonable choices. They'll reason. They'll plot future histories. And at that point, they could be potentially dangerous. So, what do? Either we become super powerful and meet the challenge, or we merge with them.
When you say merge with them, what do you mean?
Become like that, become part robotic ourselves, become superhuman.
As in, when we're born as kids, maybe we have an implant and it makes us turn into a robot.
Yeah, in other words, we are still looking the same, except we have superhuman abilities, and our brain is connected either directly or by remote control to a central nervous system that does this calculation, and performs these calculations much better than we can, and we become superhuman.
This is the video I'm talking about. This is actually a live video. So this is live as we're watching. What they've got is they've got a human being here who's sorting the packages. they've got a humanoid robot, Giant, and they're just counting how many packages each of them can sort. And this robot has been doing this for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
Anyway, we play this forward. It asks a big question about the future of humanity. There's humanoid robots.
Well, I think menial jobs will go out the window like this. Jobs that are repetitive, jobs that just require your arms and legs, those jobs will be gradually phased out. And new jobs will open up. New jobs that require thinking, human relations, organizing, directing other people. Robots can't do any of that stuff. Robots simply do what they're told to do, repetitively. Okay? We make decisions. We know how to interface with other things. We plot, we plan. Robots can't do that. Now, that doesn't mean they can't eventually. It just means that the next step beyond that will be robots that can do a little bit of mental work, and it means that we have to retrain the workforce so that they can become masters of the robots. In other words, we are masters of tools, hammers, saws, whatever. We're the master of them. They're not the master of us. Okay? We tell the hammer and the chisel what to do because we lord over them.
Have you used AI agents before?
I used AI before, but not necessarily. Which agent are you talking about?
So I've got, like, on my phone, I can say, I need a new umbrella for my patio outside my house.
Yeah.
And it'll go on the internet, it'll look at the prices, it'll look at everything.
Yeah, well, I can just type on the computer screen a question, and the computer will come up with an answer.
But you were talking about planning there, so I was saying that the agent basically makes a plan, and then it could spend an hour executing that plan.
So you mean not just coming up with the plan, but actually executing
Yes,
it?
you can do both. I'm just saying, you're talking about how humans have this, this ability to make decisions. I'm saying that the AI agent is making decisions like a human would.
No, they tell you what to do. The computer is probably programmed to look for a reference, like an encyclopedia, a handbook, the internet. In other words, if you say, I want to know the best car, it'll carry that out by looking at the internet, going through different cars. It doesn't need you to tell that. But if you want to ask something more complicated, go to the supermarket and buy these and eggs. No robot can do that.
Fuck.
Because if you're in LA, there's always robots strolling around the streets delivering food. They deliver food in LA.
Oh yeah, but that's just crawling on the sidewalk.
That's what.
That's like when they're driving a car and going up the stairs and whatever. That's just going on the sidewalk.
Which is what human does. If you love the Driver CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favour. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.
I'm making a robots game called Fish Flight Beta.
It's cluster of action and bodies flying everywhere.
It's just fun, dude, but there's no really story for it.
But open the thing and you'll just start creating something.
And you can't play the game and make it yourself. Yeah,
To watch him do it inspired me to then do it and kind of just feed off of each other.
I like spending time creating. I like it more than my computer.
Sprouts make for delivery. It's just at a grocery store.
There's organic produce everywhere. It's a bit like a wellness retreat.
The Sprouts best and a full block. So you don't carry like food stuff like this. Sprouts left and all block. I'm not a Sprouts person.
If you like fresh finds and better for you discoveries, you're probably a Sprouts person.
If you're talking about a golf ball sized black hole with way more than a swallowed hole in something the size of a light. Yeah, I'm slightly bigger. What is I still don't know the answer. What is a black hole? How do you even know if they're real? If no one's ever been to one.
Well, you can know things without visiting. I mean, that's the methods and tools and machines of science are remarkable in their ability to learn something without actually having to see it with your eyes, or hear it with your ears, or to touch it with your fingers. We have, in fact, science didn't take off until These machines became a fundamental part of how we investigated the world, replacing the five senses. Because there's nothing more feeble in this world than you thinking you understand reality through your five senses. That I would call it feeble, I would call it error prone. Error prone. Remember I told you about the escape velocity of Earth?
Yes.
Remember the value I said? 7 miles. Pay attention. The second. That goes up. 7 miles. So the adage, what goes up must come down. It's not true. It's true for almost anything you experience. But you can launch something 7 miles per second and never ever come back. What's the escape velocity for Earth? Okay. If Earth had more mass, if gravity was stronger, escape velocity is higher. That would make sense. Even more gravity, escape. Let's keep up that exercise. Cram in more and more mass. Let's keep doing it. Escape velocity is stronger. Eventually, the escape velocity hits the speed of light. At that point, light can't escape. Light is the fastest thing in the universe. If light can't escape, if you fall in, you don't escape either. There's no better description of a hole than that. And worse yet, it's a hole in any direction you approach it. Not just a hole in the street. Floor. It's a three-dimensional hole. And how do we know it's there? Because it distorts the fabric of space. You see galaxies behind concentrations of matter, black hole, and the shape of the galaxy is distorted. Einstein tells us that gravity distorts the fabric of space and time. That's one way we discover black holes. Another way is most stars in the night sky are binary of multiple stars. Most of them. You can't see it because you just have human vision. You whip out a telescope, you see, oh my gosh, we're two stars. That's just one. If there's a pair of stars, and one of them becomes a black hole, and this one ages, it expands, and some of this material spills onto and orbits around the event horizon of the black hole. This swirling material gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and it radiates X-rays and ultraviolet. You have X-ray and ultraviolet telescopes that see every one of these in the night sky. They're all black holes.
And it's created from an explosion.
There's a star that wants to explode, but it has so much mass, the explosion doesn't overcome the gravity, and the star collapses down on itself. There's one way to look at that.
So our sun, when that
It's pretty wimpy. Right? It'll still kill us.
So the mass of the object is so big that it can actually explode with its gravitational
Correct.
inputs associated.
Correct. That's above a certain threshold. Within there, there's the stars that the explosion is greater than what the gravity can contain. And it's a supernova. Those are the stars that spread heavy elements across the galaxy, enabling us to exist.
So when this ghost ball-sized black hole will break all the life and swallow whole and something the size of a line.
Yeah, so when black holes eat, they get bigger. So a line is bigger than a black hole. But not like that. Calculate with the size.
Well,
it's in there. It's compressed down inside the hole.
and if I was, and everything here is going to get pulled in there as well.
And if it comes too close, right?
If it comes to
Yeah, you can stay, you can keep your distance. Black holes are good at giant sucking device. I mean, if you keep your distance, if the sun became a black hole right now, you would still orbit it. The gravity we feel at that distance is no different.
you say that if the sun suddenly shut off, would freeze at minus 462 Fahrenheit, which is like a universe.
Yes.
Once the stored energy ran out.
Yeah.
Once the stored energy ran out.
Well, so there's the sun energy. The sun blotted out. But Earth has energy inside itself as well. This is what gives us volcanoes and continental drift and all the rest of this. So if you don't have a sun, you want to live near a volcano. There's something that is a source of energy. And then you'll live on Earth until the Earth's energy died out. Ideally, by then, you should go to another planet. Why not?
How long is our sun got left?
It's another 5 billion years.
How would we know?
It's a good question. That's
product of 20th century modern astrophysics. That was modern. That should have been modern. Where you say, what kind of star is this? You look around the universe for other stars that are just like it. Then you see those stars in their stages of evolution. Stars being born, living out their lives, dying, and the star changes its properties from birth to death. And so you can line up where the sun is in that chart. And then, plus, we know how old Earth is. So we directly measure the age of the Earth. And so there's no reason to think that Earth did not form at the same time as Sun.
Another really fascinating one is every breath you take contains molecules once inhaled by every human in history.
Yeah.
That can't be true.
ChatGPT, that's right. No, so here it is, really. There are more molecules in air in a single breath of air than there are breaths of air in Earth's entire atmosphere. So, if you breathe in and then breathe out, there's enough molecules that you breathe out to populate every breath that anyone will ever again take on this Earth. And air mixes rather quickly. Okay? So it has to mix. It's not immediately. You give it some time. If you give it some time, there are molecules that go in and out of your lungs that are in China being breathed by people that are when enough time is elapsed. Calculate that. Like years, 10 years, something like that. There's tremendous mixing of air. So, how's that for feeling kinship? You know? Same with water. Think of water. There are more molecules of water in a glass of water, in a mug of water, than there are mugs of water in all the world's ocean. So you drink a mug of water, and then it comes out of you in any one of a half dozen different ways. There's enough molecules to scatter into every other mug of water in the world. So if someone gets a mug of water, the molecules, plenty more molecules to go.
It's quite a big inhale. I'm inhaling air that contains molecules that all of my living relatives once inhaled.
Yes. And look further back, Jesus. Okay. No problem.
Yeah, with every breath.
Yes, every breath. This is the oneness of it all. That's why it's a beautiful thing. Actual physics. Nothing to live without.
Do you think it makes us kind of learning about the philosophy? It makes us more nihilistic and narcissistic?
No, you learn about it as you should. You should be learning. There's no force of narrative in the knowledge, wisdom, and insight you get by studying. You will never find marching armies led by astrophysicists or storyline. The cosmic perspective prevents that.
Selling one for the Duel Ceremony, one for the business. So I will start Look at the things from an opening and region impact. Only those surprise, hopefully that's many opportunities.
Cosmic perspective prevents that. Yeah. By the way, if you look at the chapter titles, they're each pairs of words that we've all used and that we've argued over over Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know if there's a version of Thanksgiving in the UK. Maybe it's just Christmas. Everybody gathers. The crazy uncles and aunts come in, and you got to argue with them about, you know, then you reminded why you only see them once a year. No, their topics in their color and race, law and order, body and heart, vegetarians and vegetarian, life and death. A lot of reflective moments. So this book, though it's all these topics that people fight about, its goal is to say, do you think that and you think that? You gotta look at it this way. It's not meat in the middle. No. It's meat on a plane of existence above what you're arguing. You will look down on what you're arguing and realize how ridiculous it is. That's the goal of that.
Chapter 10 of the book says human physiology may be overrated.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, we like to think of ourselves at the top of evolutionary properties, but it's really the mind, really, but not the health. You know, it's odd because we always imagine aliens having humanoid bodies, and there's no reason for that. It's a couple of plants, most life on Earth doesn't have a humanoid body. The banana doesn't have a humanoid body. You have DNA in common with it. You don't have any DNA in common with aliens from another planet. You're just walking around with neck, eyes, nose, mouth, head, ears, shoulders, arms, fingers, kneecaps, feet. Really? Is that your best imagination that you can come up with? Aliens from another planet?
Is the universe infinite? What is just going forever? Or is there a
We're not given questions. But our horizon, that's it.
What we can see?
Yeah. Right. There's no reason to think. So you're a ship at sea, and you have a horizon. Are you saying, well, that's the extent of the ocean? No. Because if you sail towards the horizon, more horizon shows up. And you keep that up until you hit land. So, in the universe, we have our horizon. And if we went to that horizon, we'd have a whole other horizon beyond that. Travel to that horizon, a whole other horizon. The question is, how far does that go? There's no idea. It's simpler mathematically to think it goes forever. It's curious how there's some equations where infinities work just fine. So we don't know. We can talk about to our own horizon.
There's so many people saying that they've seen aliens. We had someone on this podcast actually that said they'd seen aliens. Not they'd seen aliens, but they'd never evidence that aliens existed. And they worked in the military and said that they had went to the spacecraft for 2 things.
Did they go eating on it?
They have been seeing videos of things about
So,
responsible for more than 5.8 million students. It's a pretty big job.
California Teachers of George, Richard Barrera.
For state superintendent. Because Barrera can get the job done for all of our kids.
As head of San Diego School Board,
He led the work, making San Diego one of the best school districts in the nation. Barrera was planning neighborhood school district wide records. More counseling, providing mental health services, he's making that a priority. Richard Barrera will do what's best for students. So Richard Barrera, the state superintendent.
insane how much conspiracy theories have turned out to be true.
how much
been trying to warn all of us against the lessons of powerful people are hiding their evil acts in plain sight.
Yeah. Now everything's just Bohemian Grove, making out.
And he was also right about Bohemian Grove. He warned us about the elite pedo rings. He even brought up Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein's island. Jerry Epstein. More than a decade ago. It's like he took multiple trips to Epstein's private island where he checked young women as pledge. They fly to famous rich scientists and politicians, and they compromise them with underage girls. Police infiltrating protests to counter violence. Alex Jones had a great video called 9/11 The Road to Tyranny. It was the first time I really understood that Asians was on the field for a government strategy. He even warned us about those things.
And I see Bill Gates say, we got to get 2 steps to 0. And he puts his clicker and puts an image of a human up there.
Most people discuss it.
People put chemicals in the water. They earn the friggin' points.
But the more comments he discussed, the more these warnings took their psychological toll, sending him spiraling deep into alcoholism, which pushed him into even more arresting.
I think that unleashed him. I think the alcohol might have unlocked his potential.
Yeah, it would one day destroy him completely. All the stuff he was done by his time, by the very influence. Because over time, these ideas, after what he'd been saying, started to suck.
I think they think one good thing.
But by that point, it had already cost him his entire life of reputation.
It's not good for us that you're going to
See, Alex Jones wasn't always such a mess. He wasn't this alcoholic addict, saying whatever he can to get clicks. In fact, in 1995, Jones was just a local Texas news reporter,
and he was honest. Yes, Alex Jones. Like, I think he grew up, like, he was in Austin. My mom would watch Alex Jones on public access television.
Pretty handsome and eccentric, although still grounded in the reality. He liked the bourbon too much and was proud of being in good shape.
I don't know alcohol, bro. I'm not as put in it. It makes me fat.
His driving force back then were his worries about his spectrum wealth.
Yep.
Say, I don't care about being a minister. I care about getting my taxes cut. I care about getting going cut.
His biggest claim to the fame back then was when George Bush had him dragged out of a press conference for challenging him while being governor.
All about this.
So should we abolish the Federal Reserve, the Senate bar?
And he was convinced that governments everywhere by nature are controlled by a shadowy group of elites. But back then, it was the Council of Foreign Relations that stopped it most.
And now it's
Really? Most of your members.
In history, governments have always been dangerous. You know, the personal leaders have told everybody. The only real Republicans and Democrats are the same people at the top. 2 sides of the same coin, puppet A and puppet B, and we're not going to effectively change this until we are honest about who we're up against.
Back then, Jones had no idea who he would one day become. The US presidential candidates could invoke his name on the campaign trail, and he had no idea how this success would eat away his sanity and his entire life, driving him so deep into alcohol abuse that he just became unrecognizable.
And that's what I have to tell you guys a secret. I was walking to my podcast, and this is the one that we filmed in ice. And I met a guy that was just totally random. He was a guy that worked at InfoWars, and he worked with Alex Jones. We exchanged contact information. This happened a week ago. We had a very interesting conversation. Right? What are the odds of that?
Once he gave up, but eventually turned to psychosis. But to understand Alex Jones, you have to understand that back in the day, he was an early genius at the internet. Someone who adopted it before anyone else, realizing he could give InfoWars unlimited reach. The reality is,
my mom was on the internet constantly. Like, she'd be like, you should go watch and like all these other guys. Like,
it wasn't a progressive move anticipating web domination. It was solely because his views and how the traditional news became by local and local famous city bombers.
I know
April 1993, it was the passage of Clinton, the impetus, Bushville, 8, Bridgeville, Power, Georgia, and the drama of the propaganda has set
His take on the story was always clear than his traditional media did not. As I thought, even cut loose from radio and local news, it's free to follow the stories that really wants to show good, and one of those was the Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is a ruined paganistic society made of the roots from around the world. The so crazy thing about this is that everybody is watching the war, and Alex Jones, like, he just looked at it, and he showed it, and it was like, look. And now everybody just acknowledges, yeah, it happened. But the most powerful to this stuff, he said it, he did, right.
And everybody asked you what people did to the high, I never remember the Bohemian Grove. It's now out for 50 years as I think in that year.
Well, they didn't get clear second life, once they were real. But back then, James didn't have an audience of millions or a massive fortune for his disposal. He was just determined to want to smell and visit his gun. And the seat of his life gun, I'm pretty sure this is the underpass, if I'm correct on this. This is the underpass downtown Boston leading into it's like 5th Street or something like that, or like the hospital, the seat. There are people living here. The seat of his life gun, was already starting to scratch. I don't want to part the bird shit. I don't want this generous England. They're not going to pull it. I'm going to try to expose the James actually decided to go out and repeat the Bohemian Grove and went to one of the ceremonies to perform the rituals, and he wasn't alone. This is the story of one man's attempts to infiltrate and secretly failed inside the Bohemian Grove. Now it seems like an unlikely punishment, but Jones ended up joining forces with the British investigative journalist Scott Ronson to sneak into the Bohemian Grove for a 24-hour adventure with the secret borders of the world. 2012, very early to the Bohemian Grove. We're going to find out what the new world is going on. We were there for 25 years before they were burning. The Jones, this was the equivalent of a flat earther reaching the icy ring surrounding us. You saw the firmament. To be fair, it was completely insane what they discovered. Yes. The place was full of roped up people trying to protect themselves with assignments in anticipation of their weird ritual of chanting and burning in effigy of an ancient owl god. All surrounded by some of the most influential and powerful people in the world. That's a really big deal. That's crazy. What's going on over there?
Chilling, man. Just trying to rank up. Watching a lot of conspiracy videos. Yeah, I'm trying to hit masters, man.
Of course the ball was very much even on that, almost no one was paying attention. No, many kids on the whiskey guys and grab around in the return. Because even though we look back on it all fondly now, the 90s was a pretty dull time in conspiracy theory. Western economies were strong, politics was centrist, tech was still pretty harmless and fun. Nintendo and Sony were the giants everyone knew about. No talents or well, people were hearing things like Jeff Jackson compromising you. People were so positive and everything was so good in the 90s, and then 9/11 happened and everything turned into being bad. That's basically what it was. Everything was okay, everything was fine, and then as soon as 9/11 happened, the world changed for the worse. He snuck up. There seemingly wasn't much to be suspicious of. But then September 11th happened. This sentence finished and it gave Jones a hard going. On 9/11, the day after 9/11, he was calling it a conspiracy or some sort of false flag. 11. That was September 2001. Yeah, I didn't rewatch. I pretty experienced. I was there. I have predicted the last 5 years first. They are going to now use terrorism as a pretext to destroy our civil liberties. The moment shattered everything. The illusion of global peace most Westerners lived in. The basic level of trust most people had in governments and militaries. The security people felt living in the richest, most powerful nations on earth. Suddenly now, people were questioning everything. The Jones took this confirmation. Everything he'd been warning people about for years was true. But he took it to another level. Didn't wait any time to do it. Carried out the bombing of the cells, New World Order occupation government,
create the triangle to offer the solution, or, ladies and gentlemen, they allow parents they got fucked off of everything for this.
The engagement is finished correctly. Despite so ramshackle online setup and events following, Joe starts to make a splash with his relentless frenzied claims that it was an inside job. He warned us this was the latest in a string of false flag operations by the US government, justify the expansion of government as the rollout and surveillance.
Governments for state attacks. Isn't it crazy that the
unlike today, the inside job elements of the warning didn't go down with the country reading and saying,
I actually think this was the end of George Building's scene. I think Alex Jones killed it. Like, he just totally fucking. It's not even close.
But it did bring the USA's dark history of false flag operations to the open again, which was helped by Jones' repeated rants about Operation Northwoods, a rejected 1960s US plan to overtly facilitate Cuban attacks on civilian targets, all to justify a war against the communist Castro regime. As a result, InfoWars started gaining some serious ground.
Below the view can't tell you all that hit you rather than out the video.
Even still in its unwritten, as soon as people realized the horrors of the Patriot, among the horrors of the Iraq War, with rising popularity and fame allowed for a much more slick operation.
Alex Jones at Real Alex Jones. They let us this is a war.
Pretty much, man.
And you support the children with areas.
The figures were strong, and
it's also like there's another component to this too, where like he kept showing people things that were in plain sight, and he kept getting platform and demonized. And then people like, because there were things like, I mean, imagine exposing a secret society that presidents and other heads of states are in, and people are just like, I mean, that's crazy.
Fucking man.
And the boys' viewers mapped it up.
Children walking around with their
By the way, the response that people have to that, and a couple other things that Alvin said to turn up his that's just that is the foundation that I base the expectation that like nobody gave a shit about the F-35. It's because this isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened multiple times before this.
It's dying of cancer all around me. It's just like it's so
So by the early 2010s, he now had a large and still pretty niche audience tuning in daily for his hours long high blood pressure, live grants, and everything. From fluoride in the water, to believe banking cartels preparing to be the world. But the 2010s also saw two huge events that would rattle the US further. Among this made Jones an enormous figure, shut his sound further, convincing him that he was now on a God-given mission to deliver the world from the evil of the New World Order. With
Expanding storage with seamless extreme portable SSD tools.
Strong destiny group, and
These will be the largest reward injection in history for everyone. And the big line first and last internet, the new news is for final decision It's not easy being a star, but fame has its perks, like growing years organic with key nutrients and developed with pediatricians to fuel a toddler's delicious kids. Growing years by Horizon Organic.
When you food up, when the weight is a mistake, all food is a process of robots help allow with hand coordination and how to socialize. I think told the whole idea of this. I like both of those and keep going. I'm amazed to see how far they progressed.
This is basically the tournament of popular news.
See where they were, where they are now. I don't think it's some of going.
or from the evil of the New World Order. With
How about that?
it's being one of the most stressful things to take on,
How about that?
life is drinking. despite the incredible mission I've got and the whole world counting on me more and more to be the only leader of a movement against tyranny, it's just to have hundreds of people coming up with light in their eyes just telling me how great I am. Let me tell you something, as good as I am, ladies and gentlemen, I like to chew tobacco, I like to drink whiskey, and I'll be honest with you, I have constant struggles. And to, get a bottle of Jack Daniels, I don't even have the self-control.
Although this came, but one of Jones's most outlandish claims was a false vindicated.
The Latvia war and such a domestic police state in the United States.
In 2013, CIA whistleblower Edward Snowden fled to Russia, working with a group of international journalists. Snowden released a load of classified CIA files to some operations around the world. In the wake of September 11, the USA and the Section 215 of the Patriot Act have been secretly collecting the phone records and data of hundreds of millions of people in a global surveillance system.
So what happened? In the wake of 9/11, the whole bunch of government officials got together behind closed doors. And this is actually just fine when they tell you they can't figure out these weather retards that are going around trying to threaten the president.
Keep this in mind. Whenever they say, like, oh, you know who they are.
Okay. Look, Dick Cheney, a guy named David Adams, wrote a secret legal interpretation. And so they did this, and this became an accident program called Stellar, which they said was supposed to monitor the phone calls, internet communications, emails, so that everybody knew that it's emails.
Somehow, Jones's fringe ideas on deep state and people are so ridiculous. The original newfound system with authority in the state was still aside was even less voice. And Jones, having warned about this stuff for years, was finally the voice of a growing group of people becoming increasingly paranoid about the government.
One of my kids state operators who divide the voting, to push their own secret agendas, are truly a threat to democracy.
And his own paranoia is only compounded when he finds himself at the center of a brutal presidential campaign.
Well, it was also that Trump called it out, too. Trump basically said, yeah, there are a deep state amount of people that are controlling things, and it is billionaires that are doing it. Well, how do you know? It's because I was doing it.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump getting attacked
that was it.
Political
that was a huge
one regularly across the world.
Radio host Alex Jones. He claims that 9/11 and the Oklahoma City bombing were inside jobs.
Trump, however, openly stated his admiration, which swelled Jones' audience even further.
That's right. So your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope. And I think we'll be speaking on.
His trainers for mantra and endless attack on the status quo found a powerful supporter in Jones, whose interview with Trump in 2016 is said to have helped Trump get over the line and into the White House.
If I'm elected president, I think that it definitely locked in the schizo. The moment that Trump, and also, I don't like that this video glossed over the Piers Morgan interview. I do think because Piers Morgan was he's a sharp guy, he is. And nobody mobbed Piers Morgan on his own show the same way that Alex Jones did. They brought on, I remember, Jesse Ventura. And Jesse Ventura mobbed Piers as well. But the difference is that Jesse Ventura wasn't militant about it. He was much more relaxed, everything was fine. But the moment that you brought Alex Jones on and he just shouted, and I'm talking about again back in the day, Alex Jones going on Piers Morgan and just totally fucking just bulldozing. I really think that was a massive for him. What? Keep on going. I was it was 15 years ago.
Jones's once fringe ideas were now being amplified by the most powerful man in the world. The head of the government he'd spent years attacking was now his personal champion. This was Jones, but after a peak, there was always a fool. One goes fool. With his drinking and alcohol use getting out of control, his marriage was collapsing.
I can't stand to be in a party where alcohol's being drunk and not drinking. I am weak. My flesh is weak.
His wife divorced him, and last year had a very public custody battle for their children as well as his father. With his wife doing TV interviews and directing his house.
Yeah.
He went Texas starts filming him and harassing him in public.
Yes, definitely. He's a very skilled person.
like, yeah, and also the other one, it was like the big one that happened too was Sandy Hook. Because I think Sandy Hook happened before Trump. It was like 2000 and like, I don't know, like 13 or something like that. Like I don't remember about like when the timeline was. But it was really, I mean, that was the big one. Like, because that's actually what pushed it. Like, Alex Jones was not booked except for that. That was the only thing that really fucked.
Trial, a junior would encourage us to custody of the kids, making her home the primary residence instead of their father.
He appealed them into worship glass and glass, fucking with red eyes and smoking clothes.
Because that was secret out of divorce 2 years ago. I tried to keep the kids out of it.
You can see his black heart was fucking fall apart and seeing it. There were days he was buffs and tears but they were good people. He also starts becoming way more direct about who himself was confused to run the world. He also speaks more openly about how computer works, and he was one of the first people to bring public reaction to Jeffrey Epstein's bastard brother, when most people still have no idea who Epstein even was. Right?
And he's got the same FBI a couple years ago with Jeffrey Epstein, the Lolita Express, that Bill Clinton on at least 16 round-trip flights. So, wow, I believe he got convicted as well.
Years later, the speak about the scale of the crime still dominates everywhere. Only more than 10 years later, some of the most sensitive figures, long-time past propaganda and centuries, being dragged into depositions to answer for their friendship with Epstein.
Do you think
This is crazy. You see the Epstein files, it's like,
the theory of the Jeffrey Epstein intel operation? Oh my God, it's a big caught up in something that's maybe potentially doing. Would see the Assange or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip.
You can see the pictures there. The front of when I was sitting up and I got it back up.
Oh, Jeffrey Epstein, who had regular orgies at his Caribbean compound that the former president visited multiple times.
As audience kept growing, Jones became ever more convinced of himself. The threats from the elites and mainstream media grew, and the pressure was now mounting. But still, he kept the show going. Now he was deciding to take in another billionaire in his line of sight. One he warned as long as years, and who had been ignored. Bill Jones. Jones was nearly 66 and
once again, completely and absolutely fucking vindicated. How did you know all that stuff? Because you would really be surprised the amount of progress that you can make on something if you are an above intelligence person. He was completely fucking insane. If you look at history, you will see above average people that are completely fucking insane on every page. That's it. That's literally it, man. Obsession? Yeah.
superficial, nice guy act. He saw the contradictions and gains his head, wants to help the world and poor people, all while desiring to control overpopulation by decreasing the global population.
2 weeks ago, going on the Gates Foundation secret meeting of the list with Warren Buffett and the next governor, and it said the main agenda was reduce our population by 80%.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 6 billion. Now, they do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services. We could lower that by 0.5% or 15%.
Particularly the poorer places like Africa.
But it's really Africa that still has a doubling population to 2050.
Of course, Jones has taken his time back to get population growth with a little less nuance. While regular people were horrified that one of the blandest billionaire geeks on the planet was also part of the Epstein files,
Jonesy was right about that again. The thing is that he's shouting it from the rooftop. He's trying to tell everybody, but no one wanted to listen.
It was now vindicated and climbed even further into his own name. At this point, he was no longer on the street, he was now mainstream.
His YouTube channel was clocking up more views than established broadcasters like MSNBC. He was worth hundreds of millions, had hundreds of millions of followers, the president's it. He was completely untouchable. Or so he thought. You see, he started getting drunk and out with wild appearances in podcasts like the Joe Rogan Experience on his
Legendary. No, let's not reframe this, okay? Joe Rogan and Alex Jones have been friends for like 30 years. So let's not pretend like Joe Rogan was like, oh wow, Alex Jones is so crazy. No, Joe was gassing him up. Joe was saying, oh, and then what, Alex? So what about that alien kid? So what the hell, Eric? So who's this Bob Laser? Who's this guy? Yeah, let's not rewind this.
This episode, number 911, is not positive. I wrote it in one of the famous Duel
There's a certain number of podcasts I have to do to get this to 9/11. So Jamie and I wrote it out, and we did it.
This usually success. The biggest ancient conspiracy theorists really economic argument with the world's biggest entity, which then sent out forms and the giving is the business on the earth. He was hiring his own troops to have to say absolutely anything, knowing people would still believe and to face no consequences. One Joe Rogan's been popping up episodes of all the time, but since people it seems he had put his own message. Think about that. It got him. Every other snippet of it, and some got him. Why would you do that? And it's seemingly more crazy than it's ever been before. Over the course of maybe 5 hours, he branched about this past that. Then she could mind control her dress. Years ago, they had spiders that were fire-based. Okay, they had human animals every 30 years ago. They human animals today. Then the extinct wild revealed human animal hybrid.
Then Tim Burchett, the senator from Tennessee, says that they have human animal hybrids.
Everybody, that's what the most legal agreements and unexpected guests are getting signed. I always said you could meet.
Piece of shit. Yeah, no longer a cast member. Burchett's gonna be pleased today.
I feel this. Insurance company, something. Lines, funny. You do something for insurance company. You just avoid that. Gee, big guys pay something else. Democrat, can do it companies in the same insurance companies.
Because business needs skills that didn't exist 2 months ago. Skills that do business because they're trying to documents actually.
My secret to confidence? European sector. Celebs, editors, influencers, all fans for a reason. Because when I feel this smooth, this confident, I don't just walk into a room, I own it. With your wax here at waxcenter.com.
Animal hybrids. Wow. What are the odds of that? That's crazy.
Got giant human tissue farms. Aliens are real. They're creating human-animal hybrid. They admit 5G and all the studies LA Times causes massive mutation and cancer. Wait a minute. It literally ripples your DNA apart. All of our kids are under attack. NASA is...
Okay. Now to return to his previous misstated states. Alcohol and alcohol now taking over as downgraded to death.
Jones was arrested in Texas on a misdemeanor charge of driving while intoxicated.
He explains 7 means make sense. That wasn't his
The problem is that they did. That's the situation.
He didn't need to be right, he just needed to go further. His off-air actions got worse. He very clearly started cracking, and it's only a matter of time before he gives the people who want him gone exactly what they need to finish him, as he crosses a line he can't come back from, making his now infamous claims about Sandy Hook never occurring, that the children didn't exist and grieving parents were actors. He'd actually been saying this stuff for years,
Years prior to the podcast and his points, but now those words were came back to bite him. After his followers turned on their parents, and all the evidence proved him wrong, had to be dragged kicking and screaming to pull him back. This was the first time he actually had to take accountability for his more wild statements. Although he questions the legitimacy of the attack when it happens, he isn't thinking enough ready to prepare. As the star rises, his repeated claims are heard everywhere, bringing Jones all the wrong kinds of attention. His followers turn on the parents, sending them death threats and accuse them of faking their grief. And so in 2018, a way to silence him was found. He could have info wars, but no big platform allows him to use their base. He was taken off the
as soon as basically every single social media company at the same time deplatformed Alex Jones. They all, like, it was in one morning, and he was taken off of every social media platform. Was it right on this one? I think he was wrong.
Social media platforms all at once. YouTube, Facebook.
So-called consumer attorneys in California, the city billboard lawyers caught scamming accident victims, considering them the doctors that charge up to 10 times the normal rate, even clients very
The laws are under investigation for allegedly paying people to classify expensive and the firm will embezzle millions from disaster victims. These so-called consumer attorneys are spending millions so nobody will get them. Fight back and protect California consumers.
Hello, cats and gals, me Mudahara, and you know what? There are days that are good days, and there are days that are bad days. Now, I consider today to be a good day because, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be real with you, it's all falling apart. Now, what are we talking about? A few days ago, I talked about how Google was like stuffing their, search engine with more AI slop. It's like, imagine being like a crappy chef, and like in your hand is like AI salt. Like, some people might sprinkle a little bit of it on. Some people, it's like, the taste sucks, but at least there's something good underneath for me to go on it. Google just gives you a lethal amount, throws it on you, and people are just going, rather gross. So yesterday and last night, there was there was a lot of searches for the word disregard. Now everyone's like, who the fuck is looking up the word disregard out of nowhere? Well, it turns out Google's AI overview tools we're taking search results a little too literally. So this whole push for AI summary crap, which is one of the things that's killing the internet, by the way. Like, not even discounting that. There's a lot of people with small websites around the world that are just noting that, oh my god, guys, my actual viewership is down because it seems like Google's just yoinking my stuff, putting it on their page, and nobody actually comes to my little small site on the internet. Unless you're like a legitimate, unless you're like an institution, I would see that this is what we call cannibalizing the internet. But I'm glad to see it's kind of like failing a little bit because ultimately when people are looking up the word disregard, Google's whole AI was like, understood, let me know whenever you have a new prompt or question. It took that shit a little too literally. Now what's funny to me is like, it gives you all this fucking actual blank space, and then it gives you the Merriam-Webster definition of the actual like word. So a lot of people last night were basically throwing in like quite a bunch of different terms. So of course other words were causing some wild glitches, like the words dismiss, ignore, skip, start, stop, and quit. So of course, obviously, I think we understand why this is happening. The little Google Gemini AI bot was being fed these words, and it took them a little too literally. Probably took them as action commands. Probably thought it was like being told to do something specifically. And honestly, like this got pretty sorted out relatively quickly. So if you open up a new tab and you type in the word disregard, you're not actually going to see these situations, right? Like if I actually do it for you, unfortunately, connecting to Google, it actually pulls the overview away. Like, I don't even give that to you anymore. I guess if I click that little AI mode, it'll actually start to give you the proper output overview. But ultimately,
Republican Spencer Pratt wants to hire more frontline cops. And what we really need are more social workers to help real people. Indy has no compassion for unhoused neighbors. Real problems deserve real solutions. We deserve better than Republican Spencer Pratt.
At Wells Fargo, we get it. Alice started her business because she loves sods.
Real quick, before we start, you're going to have a number of questions while watching this video, and 9 times out of 10, the answer to that question is either going to be technically or money. So I'm just going to reuse this clip every time that comes up. So let's get into it. But again, remember, it's always technically or money. Hello, I'm wearing a lab coat that I stole from my sister who's a...
Do you understand? Whether you think it's your governor, your president, your congressman, we only get to see, just like Jennifer Aniston or any celebrity or whatever, you only see what the media shows you. Do you realize that? And if you think about AI, how many videos do we watch of AI like, holy crap, I was totally into the Bigfoots for a while. The Bigfoots were nutso, and then came all these other AI. Now I'm watching the cats waking up their owners in the middle of the night. The cats waking up the owners are freaking hilarious. The cat comes in and it looks real. Bedroom door slams over and a cat comes in. He sets up a drum set. It looks, you're like, holy girl, there's a cat playing. I'm watching dogs doing Michael Jackson dances. It looks real. Do you ever take the time and think, you really think AI is just showing up now? Or do you think maybe AI's been around a long time? Long time. Let me just explain this to you. Star Wars, the movie, the last trilogy, whatever you call it, had 2 dead people starring in it that they AI'd throughout the whole movie. And I didn't even know one was dead for 20-something years. Now, that was, I don't know how many years ago that came out. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 7 years ago? Which means they had the technology before that because they had to film it and put it in. Did you ever think, wow, can you imagine if they used AI for government and government officials with people that weren't even real? I know that sounds a little kooky. Or images of whatever they want to show you. You really don't know it. I remember going to Disney World when Epcot Center first opened, and like, I don't remember. I went there in 1987, 88, and I went to Epcot Center, and they were showing the future. It's a big globe, and and they were showing you talking on phones and FaceTiming on a computer. And they're like, get in the future. Now, A, how would they know that? How did they know it? B, how long did they know that? And C, just building that part of Disney had to take years and years. There's so much stuff we have no clue. Which again brings me back to, you can sit and complain about it, or you can sit and live in it. Oh, the virus is coming. Oh no, or you can buy into this world that we call the Matrix or whatever you want to call it. Or just, dude, let's have it out. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I don't care about politicians. I don't even watch sports anymore. I don't. I'd rather just play sports than actually watch them. Because I know for a fact, I know specific professional players that have talked about games being rigged. So it's like, what is real anymore? What is real anymore? Did you guys watch the comedy roast? I did not watch it, but of course Kyle and Brian McKenna, that's all they talked about. The last, all day. Did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see it? You see Tony Hinchcliffe? Did you see Shane Gillis? Did you see this one? Did you see Cat Williams? Cat Williams said two things that I thought that really resonated. One was, and don't quote me on this because I don't know, he said something like, this is like the Illuminati lower class, or I don't know if that's what he said, but he was like, the stub A-list Illuminati. And you're I don't know anything about Illuminati, but from what I've seen on the internet, some of the people, and Shane Gillis is going to Chelsea Handler. And and you watch the internet and you watch people go, and some people make it political, and some people make it this, and some people make it about comedy. But Shane Gillis literally says to Chelsea Handler, calls her out. She's been with Epstein. Woody Allen was there. Woody Allen, who, and that was. And is it me or was Tony Hinchcliffe? He had some fangs hanging out with Chelsea. You could tell that was not good blood. And Chelsea came up and she did, she's like, you're bald, whatever she said. I don't even care. No, I don't care. It was. People forget. Let me ask you this. Are we the only industry, when I say we, I'm talking about entertainment, and sports, are we the only industry that you just don't care if you cheat on your wife, or you don't care if you did something really dark and got caught doing something dark? Are we the only industry that your morality is put aside when your favorite pop star, favorite comedian, favorite whatever does it, and you just like, we're just gonna pretend it doesn't happen? I mean, thou shalt not judge, but there was, you're ripping Kevin Hart, but at the same time, Kevin also had a sex tape. He had a sex tape while his wife is pregnant. But people, he's a big star. And listen, Kevin seems like a great guy. But in the real world, you can't get past these situations. If someone in my house was doing this, you couldn't get past that situation. What's up? What's up, Brian? Come on in. Oh, you just yeah. I always get a nice room. I ain't playing around. I'm 58, Brian. You think I'm 30 something? Yeah, I got balconies. Go get it. Yeah. I know you don't have a balcony. I got many balconies here. Yeah. Hey, does this hurt, Kyle, or is this? Oh, never mind. Wow, that's our light. That's incredible. Very good. Okay. You don't have to jump in us, but I was talking about the. No. What I mean is, no, sit here, Tommy. Come on, jump in us. I was talking about the roast that you guys were showing me, and this is what I mean. You don't have to comment, but like, I already put it out there. It's too late. But like Kevin Hart, I don't watch movies. He seems like a really good guy, but people forget he cheated on his wife while she was pregnant. While she was pregnant. You know, and he apologized and moved on. And he was also with the Diddy. He was with the Diddy. Cat Williams comes on and he goes, because I can't do Cat Williams. She's like, because Kevin was at the P. Diddy parties doesn't make him a bad person. Right? Or something like that. He goes, but when you ask him about it, he gets real quiet. That says a lot. Some to that degree. Yeah. And again, to each his own. And I don't wish anything bad on him, but hey, Kevin, if you got need an extra guy in a movie, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm in. I haven't been in a movie in 30 years, so I don't care. I'm more about the person and how they are as a person.
I was almost in the JFK Jr. story, if you want to talk about that, Kev.
Yeah, oh well. Hey, what's up, everyone? Jim Burr here. Tickets for my Find the Funny Tour 2026 starts in February, ends in May. Get all your tickets at jimbrewer.com. Don't go any other way because it's going to take you in areas that you didn't want to be at. jimbrewer.com. Hit the link of what city you want to go to, and I'll see you on tour. Tickets are going fast, so please, before they sell out, get your tickets now. And a Christmas present, one present for somebody. I'm just saying, trying to hook you up. And there's VIP, take a picture, first couple rows. Just saying, loosen up it. All right, jimbrewer.com for tickets.
But the main characters of the story. All three of my kids have autism. Robots help a lot with hand-eye coordination, learning how to socialize, to be independent. I've been told my whole life really it's a waste of time. I like football games. That is peak life. But I'm amazed to see how far they progressed.
I use a baking dough. I want to make a vodka style with blues.
Seeing where they were and where they are now, I don't know how to explain this feeling. It's proud. Deeply proud.
Yvonne Yu for California's Board of Equalization. Not a politician.